Hi, I'm here today to talk about how we co-designed and co-conducted a multi-stakeholder implementation evaluation during the pandemic. The pandemic really highlighted a need for collaborative, pragmatic, and low-resource methods in implementation science. So we decided to use some of these in our multi-stakeholder practical participatory evaluation, which was focused on the collective efforts of an interagency partnership who were communicating and engaging with culturally and linguistically diverse communities in Brisbane, Australia. The evaluation was really driven by 3 non-academic health service partners who had initiated that project, but did involve a diverse range of stakeholders in the collaboration. My role as implementation scientist was really to scaffold this process and bring along the implementation science methods and also the rigor of that as well. So in able to perform this process, we really needed to choose a method that would include all of our stakeholders and be easily understandable. In the end, we settled on a logic model approach, as I had used that quite successfully in the past. So in order to begin this, we held a virtual workshop for 2 hours online with our 28 stakeholder partners. In this workshop, we introduced the ideas of evaluation, logic models, and outcomes, and tried to conceptualize the project as a whole, thinking about potential evaluation questions and also data sources. At the end of the workshop, I asked all the participants to send through a logic model of the project from their own perspective. I then took all of these individual logic models and put them together into one overarching model for the project, which was really useful for the data evaluation plan and the overall questions. I could then map each of these logic model outcomes to RE-AIM framework dimensions, which I had chosen for the project as it fit really nicely with our needs. This then enabled me to create a draft evaluation plan, which included a data collection matrix using really pragmatic qualitative and quantitative methods with existing data as well as some newly collected data for the project. And in deciding on that new data collection, we realized we needed a really simple and flexible tool to do that because data was going to be collected in multiple formats and also in multiple languages using the same tool. So I created a very simple question guide which could be adapted to meet this need. We then took all of this and held a second virtual workshop to finalize these documents, as well as talk about our data collection processes and how we would engage with our bicultural workers and our community leaders to assist in this process. There was no formal training, but we did lay some ground rules and methods of how this might work. I then handed over to my non-specialist stakeholder partners to collect all of the data for this project. And they did that using very simple means, such as social media analytics, project documentation, and then taking that question guide and turning it into online surveys, telephone calls, and in-person and virtual focus groups and interviews. Now, we didn't perform any transcription, but we did have notes and digital recordings for most of this data collection. I then compiled all of this data and analysed it. I organised data by RE-AIM dimension, as that was a really useful process given the variety of sources, and used thematic analysis on our qualitative data, and clear themes did actually emerge. So the lessons I learned was that the logic model approach really is a simple and understandable method of doing this practical participatory evaluation and allowed for a clear agreement about the project early on in the process. Despite our pragmatic methods, all RE-AIM outcomes could be successfully measured and clear themes emerged. This resulted in the co-creation of really meaningful knowledge for these stakeholders that they can use in their future decision-making and planning. Alongside this, there was additional benefits of capacity building, stakeholder engagement, and evaluation ownership. So here's my poster if you'd like to have a look further, and I welcome any questions.